Constance Beutel was an innovator and leader even before graduating from Archbishop Marie Memorial High School in 1964. She often presented issues of the day in creative, humorous, and thought-provoking ways. At her table this evening, under the awning there, are several other members of our class and one of our teachers. And we would be happy to share a few stories about those days if you're interested. Since graduating, her passions and convictions have enriched the lives of many all over the world. She has traveled and developed lasting friendships in many places, from Southeast Asia to Israel to Czechoslovakia to Denmark. And for almost 30 years now in her home city of Benicia, California. Constance's accomplishments are impressive. I'm not sure if she will share any of them in her remarks, so I've chosen to highlight 3 of them. For 30 years, she worked and innovated in corporate telecommunications. For 8 years, she served in the U.S. Air Force and was awarded the Bronze Star and the Meritorious Service Medal. She earned a doctorate in education and taught in several graduate programs in fields of education, digital security, and network systems. Connie and I have been friends since first grade, and recently she has been my videography mentor. I admire the way she addresses serious issues with honesty, compassion, and buoyant energy. Please join me in welcoming Constance Beutel.
I was in the Air Force, so I can step up there. I'd fly otherwise. Distinguished alumni and guests, President Melissa Dan, thank you very much for the honor of this award. In the fall of 1979, after an arduous and challenging 5-week trip inspired by Alex Haley's book, Roots, I had concluded my first visit to communist Czechoslovakia, Poland, and Hungary in search of my grandparents' Czech birthplaces. Surviving on an intensive Czech Berlitz immersion course and the sights and sound of my grandmother's home on Clifton Street in St. Paul, I was exhausted from the ordeals of being followed, interrogated in Polish and in Hungarian and in speaking Czech. So I found myself on the last day of my in Czechoslovakia, seated at the counter in the Hotel Intercontinental Cafe in Prague, ordering breakfast, when a man sitting next to me spoke in Czech, saying to the effect, "You speak very good, but very slow Czech." Naturally, I took it as a compliment and replied, "Děkuji vám, thank you." "No," he said, "it wasn't you I was complimenting. You must have had a very good teacher." And so it is with my life. Because of very good teachers, friends, and family, the world has been open to me in profound, mysterious, and joyful ways. For example, because of my grandmother, Anna Maulik, I developed a passion for seeing and engaging in the world. Her stories of her youth and dozens of postcards from Europe she would share with me inspired my adventure to see the world. Because of brilliant teachers like Sister Sheila at Transfiguration, the structure and fabric of language was revealed. Remember diagramming sentences and the red pony? And because of Judith Johannesson's passion for all things French and Sister Helene's skills introduction to Latin, I was able to navigate from France to Thailand and China to Israel to Africa and South America. My parents taught me by their lived examples. My father with his participation and leadership in the labor movement, my mother by her interest in the news and the newsmakers, and my sister Roberta taught me nearly everything else worthwhile, from her love and support of the arts to her passion for golf. Roberta died a few years ago, but I know she is smiling at my 14 handicap. But what brings me here this evening is the deep and abiding friendships I have been blessed to have with friends like Kathleen Juneman and Peg Lindlof, who have seen me through happy days, of course, but also through times of great personal loss of my parents and then my sister. You may not know how deep and powerful it is to come back to your home and have the love and support of these friends, as well as Mary Harrell, profoundly talented poet and dear, dear friend from Archbishop Murray days and the University of Minnesota, and of Cindy Bongart Grachowski from grade school and high school with the best sense of humor and whistle you can imagine. And long dear friends Barbara Reardon, who has come tonight from Reno, Nevada, and the Honorable Delane Easton from California to be with me here this evening. Barbara, whom I met when I was stationed at Hamilton Air Force Base because she was starting a folk mass in the beautiful St. Raphael's Church in San Rafael, California. Barbara, whose brilliance as a pianist and coloratura soprano has been inspiring and her friendship enduring. Delane, who worked with me at the telephone company and went on to 4 terms in the California State Assembly and 2 terms as a state superintendent of public instruction, and who ran courageously recently for the governor of California. What I'm counting to get me through the pearly gates was the creation of the self-directed education program at Pacific Bell, because an employee who dealt with severe emotional problems had the fortitude to come to my office and suggest that my love for education could be used by the telephone pioneers. Her suggestion so moved me that I began a program on my lunch hour that over time became part of the corporate institution, and we put 12,000 employees through college and university programs right on company premises throughout the state of California. It also encouraged me to take a doctorate in education, which paved a way for a second 20-year career, this time in higher education. Finally, a friend I helped to mentor, Dr. Denise Lucy, took up my suggestion to film her leadership lectures at Dominican University of California. The first lecture I filmed was none other than Jane Fonda, who was gracious enough to show me how to properly mic the talent. Since then, I've had the privilege of filming over 80 brilliant authors and American leaders. Ja mluvím špatně česky, ale dobře vyrykli anglicky. But if there's any good Czech spoken by me, and if my life has brought honor to the school, it is because of very good teachers and very good friends in my life. Thank you.